Where the hell is security?
Yeah, why are you in a tunnel? Why? Like, I don't see the whole team in there. I see him.
By himself, man.
A whole lot of white jerseys.
On today's Throwdown Thursday edition of the Yacht Coaches Podcast, Dr. Adams and Coach Francis recap Week 9 games, discuss updated NIL guidance, review Dr. Adams strictly for entertainment purposes only picks, as well as previewing Week 10 of the college football season. Welcome to today's show. The Odd Coaches Podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with me today, following our theme of Smoky Mountain Wrestling, you'll hear about that a little later, the Scott Armstrong to my Steve Armstrong, the Armstrong brothers, the icon, the showstopper, the main event, and the reason why we are here, Coach Mike Francis. And Coach, how are you doing? College football is our friend right now. What's going on?
Yes, sir. I'm doing well, doing well.
All right. So in segment one, fans, we're going to go around the territories, and there's a lot going on in college football. Segment two, just some issues I want to bring up with my partner. And segment three, strictly for entertainment purposes only. And I was entertained this week, finally. We're going to talk some things, and we got a little paper coming. Very little, as my wife would say in the background under her breath. So let's start off with the ACC. So, Mike, at the end of the day, for me, the ACC is the middling conference. Clemson's the best team. Whoop-de-doo. No one can compete nationally. Wake got smoked by a below-average team in Louisville.
Oh, it was bad.
Syracuse got smoked by Notre Dame. And Miami, to use a line from Ric Flair when he was talking to David Crockett and Tony Giovanni, he said, this suit cost $800, that cost $200, and I don't know what that is. I'd be ashamed to wear it. And that's how I feel about Miami football right now. I don't know what that is. So any thoughts on the ACC, my friend?
No, as you said, temporarily, I thought that some other teams would be able to come up as it got better as we went on. But they had like 2 weeks there. I thought that, okay, somebody's going to beat Clemson. But it ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen, and they're gonna win. Clemson's gonna run it, but they are no good. They're not good as Alabama, Georgia, and
Tennessee.
Yeah, especially not. Oh yeah, none of that.
All right. So the American Conference, and again, folks, we got a show, and we might have somebody who cares. So the top two teams in the American Conference have 2 losses, and they're the bottom-rated conference for a reason. So,
but when do we cut them off?
Because they are a part of the Cotton Bowl, and the highest rate group of 5 school goes to the Cotton Bowl. We have to every week check out who's going to be the highest rated group of 5.
Talk about it when they name the 2 teams. How about that?
And we're going to move on to the Big 12. And I started the show, fans, with a reference to Smoky Mountain Wrestling. And that's what TCU is to me. And Smoky Mountain Wrestling, they had this thing called the Beat the Champ TV Championship. Every week, you kind of face somebody, and after 5 wins, you got like $5,000 or something like that. It was all kayfabe. So TCU is still undefeated, Mike, and they're beating everybody that's in front of them barely. And it's exciting to watch. It's like the John Cena Open Challenge. They're my new project, Cincinnati, because the bubble will burst and they won't make it. But now I'm interested because there's like 5 games left in the season. So, Mike, they got Texas Tech next week, Texas, Baylor, Iowa State, and then if they make it that far, the Big 12 title game. Can TCU, by happenstance, stay undefeated this year and mess up everything?
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, but they're close. I mean, they're the closest one to it. I see their schedule is favorable to them, but
And they are not the top 5 teams, but again, Big 12, undefeated, strong political ties in those states. That is Texas. It's
they
going to be
would
hard
not.
to keep them out. It's going to be hard.
No, they ain't going to be that hard. No, you know how it is.
Don't worry, they'll lose, and then we won't have to worry about it. But man, while they're still there, that's going to be fun.
That's your new project, Cincinnati, which you ignored me yesterday.
Man, I said the American, the top teams have 2 losses, so we got through that. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention the debacle of Oklahoma State. I'll talk about that more in segment 3. But hey, I don't know about losing. You can lose. I mean, we're not going to go undefeated all the time, but you got embarrassed, and you can't come back from that. K-State beat you 48-0 or something ridiculous like that. So, yeah. All right, Big Ten football. So Big Ten football is a 2-team conference, and those 2 teams are not as good as advertised. Illinois could give Michigan problems and may play well in a bowl, so I'm going to keep my eye on Illinois. Ohio State is not expected to have any problems over the next few weeks, but they weren't overly impressive yesterday.
Well, it was the first time they played somebody. Come on now.
They weren't overly impressive. They do play Maryland at Maryland November 19th, the week before Michigan, and that is your classic trap game. That is a classic trap game. Now, again, I'm not even getting tickets for it. Mike, you might be able to get tickets. You got stroke in the area. But that's interesting. But, Mike, I want to spend some time on something that came across my desk this morning. Unlike last week, folks, we actually looked at videotape. So Michigan Athletic Director Ward Manuel said police are investigating what Coach Jim Harbaugh called an assault on 2 of his players in the tunnel after Michigan's unimpressive, I might add, 29-7 victory over Michigan State. Thank God Mel Tucker signed the contract. The video on the social media showed Michigan State players gathered around Michigan defensive back Jaden McBurrows throwing punches and kicks. What happened after the game is completely unacceptable. I've talked to the commissioner and he's looking into it. The police are also looking into it because they've seen the video and they're addressing it, and we will leave it in their hands. But this is not how we should interact after a game. This is not the way another team should grab a player and do what they did.
Why the hell are you in their tunnel?
Man, so Mike, first of all, we've been having these conversations the last couple of weeks. Where the hell is security?
Yeah, okay. Why are you in their tunnel? Why? Like, I don't see the whole team in there. I see him
by himself, Mike.
A whole lot of white jerseys.
Look like something out of the 80s Horseman.
Did he take the wrong turn? Yeah, it looked like somebody came, like he was in the back. He was in the back where he come out to wrestle, and they jumped his ass coming down the aisle, something like that.
So now, should those players be suspended?
I don't even know what led up to it. All we saw is what we saw. We don't know if he said something, did something, threw something. You don't know. He spit on somebody. We don't know. I'm not accusing those players.
But there were a lot of white Michigan jerseys, and like no help came except like one lone coach came and grabbed them. So yeah, we're gonna keep an eye on that and see if anything comes from that. But
and the coach didn't even grab him.
Well, let's just say he picked him up and took him away. Is that safe?
Why in the world is he over there?
Yeah, I don't know. But I definitely will keep an eye on that this week.
Man.
So moving to HBCUs, game day was at Jackson State.
Shout out.
So I appreciate game day being there. Mike, I don't think I've ever asked you, but did you pledge? Because they had the Alphas and somebody else out stepping. I was a me by me myself.
Yeah, no, I ain't never pledged. I've been asked to pledge post grad, but the Qs asked me to pledge the Annapolis chapter post grad every year or so. They send me some information about pledging, but
yeah, it was never for me. But I enjoy the experience. So
I own that to $2,000 to give away.
I'm tight with a dollar. But congratulations to Jackson State, who beat Southern 35-0. Keep an eye on Prairie View A&M and FAMU. FAMU is quietly winning again. So they may play Jackson State if they have a SWAC championship. I know they have the Heritage Bowl. And speaking of that, Howard is 2-0 in the MEAC with 3 games left. So first of all, the fact that they have 5 conference games means there's nobody left at me. And 2, man, go win that thing, man.
What game that conference got 5 damn games? That's a shame.
Wow. All right, so group of 5. I don't think I'll be picking any Conference USA teams during bowl season. I did take a peek at their standings, and that's a lot of bad. In terms of the MAC, keep an eye on Toledo for your bowl purposes. So Boise State, San Jose State, and Wyoming could get, big bowl bids. And Coastal Carolina and South Alabama could mess up a lot of bowl pools. Shout out to Nima. If Coastal gets a good bowl, we're going to call you. Have you peeked at any group of 5 schools knowing what the answer to that question is? All right, we're going to move to the independents. Hugh Freeze has agreed to a new 8-year contract at Liberty that will put him among the highest paid group of 5 coaches in the country. The contract is for 8 years and averages just under $5 million a year. That money goes a long way in Lynchburg, Virginia. That's stretching the heck out of that. It is fully guaranteed through the 2030 season. So Hugh Freeze has gone 33-12 at Liberty in 4 seasons, including 3 bowl wins. The Flames are 7-1 this season, despite playing much of the year with a quarterback who began as 4th on the depth chart. If Hugh Freeze were to leave Liberty, it's unknown how much his buyout would be. But if you're going to pay me that much money to live in Lynchburg, I think I'm good. Any thoughts on Hugh Freeze's big bonanza coaching at Liberty?
He may have found his spot. Sometimes you do, like, right at your level. And he's a little older, a little long in the tooth.
Yeah,
I think it's nice pace, and I think I can coach almost anywhere. I think I can coach anywhere for $5 million a year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. So, fans, last couple of weeks we've been talking a lot about Notre Dame, and I have followed Notre Dame all year, strictly for entertainment purposes only. So I thought it was the appropriate time to reach out to our Notre Dame correspondent, Jake Schaller. And Jake's usually busy on taping days, but Jake, being a former reporter and outstanding writer, sent some comments that we all want Coach Francis to take a look at. So throughout the rest of this segment, you'll hear Jake's takes on some various items. So, Mike, this is Jake's take on Coach Marcus Freeman. He said Marcus Freeman's a long-term play. Okay. This guy's a first-time head coach and have never done this before. He never put together a staff, never was the main guy in charge all week, and on game days deal with the ancillary stuff. They need to give him some time. And Jake sent that to me on Friday. Notre Dame came out and played impressively Saturday against Syracuse. Does Jake have a point for those who are screaming for Marcus Freeman's head?
I think he might have saved his job yesterday. It might get me. Bought him another season. Put it that way. The way Syracuse had been playing, for him to go and do that, I think it may have bought him another season. It's just the people probably calling for his head may take a step back. I'm not saying that they're gonna go away, but they may take a step back and say, "Wait, maybe we should give him time." So,
and he's got USC still left, and they got Clemson still left. You win one of those 2 games, that's
they can beat USC.
Yeah, yes, they can.
Yeah, they can beat USC.
The way they played against Syracuse, the way Syracuse played against Clemson, they might be able to give Clemson a game too. We'll see.
I don't know about that.
Clemson's coming off a bye,
but they're not fast enough for Clemson. They don't. One thing about Notre Dame, they don't have an abundance of speed. That's the difference between the recent Notre Dame teams and the Notre Dame teams of the 80s and 90s, they always had somebody with speed. They had somebody can kill you deep, somebody can, great on special teams. And you don't see that at Notre Dame anymore.
All right.
The Lou Holtz Notre Dames were,
The Lou Holtz Notre Dame. Man,
yeah, they were speed. That was speed central. He knew it.
All right. So Pac-12. Oregon has a case, folks. And they, as I predicted last week, they were on TV talking about Oregon, and the one loss that they had, Mike, was against Georgia. Georgia's number one team in the country, blah, blah, blah. But real life's going to get in the way, and here's where I bust Oregon's bubble already, and I will be done with it. So their best wins, Mike, were against BYU and UCLA. That's their signature wins. Their upcoming games are against Colorado, Washington, Utah, and Oregon State. That's their upcoming games. So that's what they're going to use to sell nationally, that a one-loss Oregon should be better than a one-loss Alabama or a one-loss Tennessee or a one-loss Ohio. Yeah, okay. So stop it. And I'm going to tell you to stop it now. Okay. Meanwhile, USC and UCLA, they play each other. USC also plays Notre Dame. UCLA plays a bunch of winnable games, but those teams aren't good. And Utah has one Pac-12 loss, and they play Oregon November 19th. So, yeah, I'm batting down the hatches, and I'll be rooting for the Utah Utes to end this debacle so I don't have to have this dumb conversation, even though Utah let me down all season. Mike, any thoughts on the Pac-12, Oregon, anything with it, and your love affair of West Coast football? Does Oregon have a legitimate shot? Bums. Oh, sorry, Mike's live. I'm just joking. Anybody who knows me know Adams will bum it all over the place. Bunch of bums.
They are, though. You're right.
All right, so now let's get to real football as we close every segment one with this with the SEC. So Georgia's good. Tennessee's good. Let's have some fun. Again, I'm taking back to a Flair promo, Starcade 86. You're going to walk that aisle, and after a lot of great games, a lot of great matches, these two teams are going to line up. And thank you for doing it at 3:30 so I can be comfortable.
Yes.
And, Mike, I'm inviting you over. Come on over, have some Litos, have some wings, some strong beverages, and let's just sit and enjoy this one.
I'll take water.
Mike. Okay, so I'm looking forward to watching Georgia, Tennessee, 3:30 national television, bright lights, big city. Thank you, Ole Miss, for beating Texas A&M. You'll find out why segment 3 fans, if you've been following.
Get that out of the way. Yes.
And South Carolina broke my heart, and I think Mike's going to break my heart in segment 3 because when I give you the remaining schedule, you're going to say, hey, I don't think it's going to work.
They blew it.
Well, let's get to Jake's take on Brian Kelly and LSU. And as you know, fans, Brian Kelly used to be the head coach at Notre Dame for like 10, 12 years, something like that. So Jake said, Keith, he's a good coach. There's no question about it. No question about it. I may not like the way he left Notre Dame, but you cannot deny that he's a good coach. He's won everywhere he has been, and LSU is probably the best situation for him. That's what Jake said. The one knock on him at Notre Dame was that he wasn't an all-out beast of a recruiter, and LSU is going to get talent no matter what. Mike, you have said that to me publicly and privately, that LSU is still LSU no matter who's coaching there. Jake thinks he's going to be quite successful there in the long run, and that's why Notre Dame took a chance on Freeman. He is breaking the ceiling on recruiting that Kelly said wasn't there. Any thoughts on Jake's take on Brian Kelly at LSU as they get ready to take on Alabama this coming weekend?
He's 100% correct because Brian Kelly's personality shortcomings, like he's not one you can see he doesn't relate to the kind of kid you're gonna need to be successful at that next level. Whereas at LSU, the school will bring them in, just the brand, the conference, the attraction at LSU being there, where the guys who he's with and his coaching staff will be able to get kids. And once they get them on campus, it sells itself pretty much. LSU sells itself. So it's steep in tradition, which that outweighs his inability to make the personal connections with those guys. Guys go to SEC because they want to go to NFL.
Yes.
It's that simple. The competition, it's a different level, different group of kids, and he doesn't have to work. I won't say work as hard, but he can step back. Whereas Notre Dame, you got to sell Notre Dame. We went there. My son's visit. We wasn't even past touchdown Jesus yet, and he told me he wasn't going there. So,
all right.
He's right. He's 100% correct.
Well, Jake's final take, and the final take of this segment is Jake's take on Jimbo Fisher and Texas A&M. I said, Jake, what would you do? And he said, that's a tough one. There's so much invested in Jimbo. There's so much financial capital invested in him that maybe you just give it another year. But he said, Keith, I think it shows you that you can't just buy titles with NIL money. If kids come to school just for that, there is no guarantee it'll work out. Mike, any thoughts on Jake as we close out segment 1 around the territory?
I'm trying to figure out what do you mean by buying titles with NIL money. I'm not sure. I missed that part.
So here's what Jake was saying. There was a whole lot of hubbub and rubub about Texas A&M and their NIL deals, and they're getting these highly rated recruited classes in part because of the NIL opportunities. But it goes back to something you've said publicly and privately. You're still playing football. And when you kick the ball off, someone's coming to tackle you.
Ain't no endorsement.
Do that.
No endorsements tackling you.
And motivation works both ways, because if you've got a big endorsement and I take you out, then maybe I can get a big endorsement too. Yeah. So what Jake was saying was,
maybe I can get your endorsement.
Yeah. So none of this is a guarantee. You still got to go play. And at the end of the day, Texas A&M's not playing well. And they're not playing well in part because maybe they're thinking more about all of this ancillary stuff and not just about, hey, practices at this time, here's the scheme. And you know this as a football coach, football is an event. You plan all week for the game, and each day means something in terms of the planning and the prep. So thank you, Jake. We appreciate you giving us some time, and we'll be right back on the iCoaches podcast.
The reviews are in for Dr. Keith Adams' book, Finding the Balance, My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success. College professor and student athlete academic expert Dr. Lisa Rubin said, "There is nothing out there like this book, so I do hope people will pay attention and give it a read." Former George Mason standout Fowler Campbell said, "Consider this book an opportunity to work directly with Dr. Adams, just like I did. I assure you that there will be something you can take away that will be useful to you throughout your personal journey." Ryan Waite, a recent college graduate who is a software engineer, said, "I like how the book is based on research, which makes it good for general students as well as student athletes." The book serves as both a memoir to Dr. Adams' 30-year academic and athletic career, as well as an instructional guide to assist student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators navigate through the challenges of finding a better balance between academic and athletic success. The book includes over 15 personal stories and anecdotes from Dr. Adams, along with numerous former players and colleagues from a variety of sports and endeavors. You can order your copy at www.ckasaveproject.org. From the main page, simply click CKA Save Project Services and order the Find the Balance book. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches podcast. In segment 2, we're just going to give Mike's reaction to a lot of the news stories that are coming up that have happened the last week, and I kind of like doing that with Mike. First of all, Mike, we are around the same age, you're a little older, and Vince Dooley passed away, national championship coach in Georgia in 1980, coached political candidate Herschel Walker.
Mm.
But it was good that he got to see Georgia win the national championship before he passed. But a lot of accolades, Hall of Famer. Got a statue outside of the Sanford Stadium,
Mm.
95,000 seat. Any thoughts and memories about Vince Dooley? Because I do remember that Georgia team from 1980.
Mm. That Georgia team was amazing. That was something to see. But
Yeah, with the cutoff
no,
shirts. Everybody had the cutoff shirts back
right
then.
here, everybody's yeah, in the neck rolls,
Oh, the
big-ass
neck rolls. Oh man.
Yeah, but so he had it going. A lot of people that I know that have talked about him because he was a little bit before I was really, really into coaching. But I've always heard good things about him.
Yeah. And speaking of coaches, interim coaches, Wisconsin interim coach Jim Leonard, who's a candidate for the permanent job, thinks the school will benefit from a decision soon on who will lead the program going forward. He was on Big Ten this morning on Sirius XM, and he said that bigger conversations are coming soon about Wisconsin's permanent coaching role. He's 2-1 as the interim coach after they fired Paul Chryst on October 2nd. Athletic director Chris McIntyre said he owed it to Wisconsin to conduct a full national search. And although Leonard, a decorated former Wisconsin player and the team's defensive coordinator since 2017, has long been viewed as a potential successor, he wants to go through the process. Any thoughts about Jim coming out early, having thoughts about the job, or would you have advised him to just stay quiet, keep winning?
Just shut up.
Okay.
Talk to the people you need to talk to, and none of them have a microphone.
Because that was my thought, man. Why are we doing interviews other than saying we're going to do the best we can? We're going to try to keep recruits in town, and I would like the job, but I respect the process and blah blah. Yeah.
He might have shot his too fast.
Yeah. So, all right, don't press send. Michigan running back Donovan Edwards said his retweet of anti-Semitic comments showing a video of Ye, the artist formerly known as Kanye West, was a glitch and reiterated that he is against all types of racism and hate speech. Edwards tweeted last week that he is unequivocally against racism, exploitation, and oppression in all forms, including stereotype and trafficking and hate. He expanded on his apology with another tweet apologizing for mistakenly retweeting a message that was so hurtful. His since deleted retweet of Ye's video was captured by college football reporter Ace Anbender and others. And in the video, Ye makes several anti-Semitic comments. Mike, any thoughts about Donovan Edwards? Wasn't he one of the Heisman candidates, or was that somebody else?
He was the Michigan running back was a Heisman candidate at first, but it just doesn't make sense to why they're dealing with that. That guy's unbelievable for him to do that. Very insensitive for him to do it as a college athlete. He put himself in position to do nothing but fail. And it comes to any popularity contest, it comes down to all that he's just not going to make it.
We just had a town hall with our middle schoolers. And one of the things that you understand in middle school and fans, if you are in education, middle and high schoolers are a unique set of folks, and social media is a big part of their lives. And a lot of problems happen because of pressing send on various social media platforms. So the advice we give is there's no delete button in cyberspace, no matter what they tell you.
Mm-hmm.
And to quote Herm Edwards, don't press send, man. Everything should be a press release for you. And all this willy-nilly tweeting and stuff, man, it'll get you in some trouble. And this is national trouble for him because it got to our desk and we weren't looking for it.
At all.
All right. So, Mike, is this important? Arch Manning, the #1 overall quarterback prospect in the 2023 class, will enroll in Texas early for the spring semester.
Smart.
Manning is scheduled to join the program January 2023 and participate in spring drills ahead of the 2023 season. This guy is supposed to be the real deal, Holyfield. Tell me if this is important, and if it's important, why is it important?
It is very important. You got to get in January. You got to get in and learn the offense. He's a quarterback. He needs to be in the room. Plus, it doesn't count against anything he's doing. He can just register part-time. He'll take 6 credits, up to 9 credits. It doesn't count as full-time. This way he can acclimate himself into, how they cheat there. But
the opinion expressed does not necessarily represent CKA management and its subsidiaries. All right, so this is a good deal, though. This is good for him to get in.
Yeah, it's a great deal for him to get in and get going early. I tried it with AJ. They wouldn't let him do it.
Okay. All right. So finally, NIL update, fans. We keep you posted on all of these things. So the NCAA Division I Board of Directors approved last week new guidance to members on name, image, and likeness activities, clarifying how schools, coaches, and staffers can be involved with athletes' endorsements and sponsorship deal. The latest clarifications to the NCAA's interim NIL policy created no new rules, but are intended to give athletic departments a better idea of what types of supports fall outside of existing bylaws. The NCAA spelled out numerous activities which were permissible and impermissible. So, Mike, here we go. Broadly, the NCAA said that schools cannot be involved in sourcing, negotiating, or facilitating NIL deals for their athletes. Services related to NIL deals, such as legal review of contracts, can only be provided if those same services are available to the entire student body. Schools must also adhere to state laws regarding NIL compensation for athletes, as dozens of states have NIL laws, some that already prohibit schools from facilitating deals for athletes. The latest guidance can be used to assist with all things NIL. Mike, what do you think about the latest modifications and clarifications of NIL?
There was no rule change, so why are we even having this conversation? What are you explaining to me? What more do you need to explain to me?
I just said that the latest guidance is schools are not following what the spirit of the rule is, Michael.
Spirit?
School staff members also cannot be employed by or have ownership stake in NIL entities. You can't have that.
Spirit of the rule. NCAA, spirit of the rule. I want you to hear what you say in the oxymoron. NCAA, spirit of the rule. Go ahead.
Well,
continue.
Schools can also request donors provide funds to collectives and other NIL entities, provided that the schools do not request that those funds be directed to a specific sport or a student athlete.
Why not? Why you gonna tell me where I got to put my money?
Again, the rules say that that's what's supposed to happen.
These people are trying to justify why they take these people's money. That's all it is.
Okay. Mitt Winter, who's like the foremost authority of this, we're trying to get Mitt on the show, so we got to slow down and make sure we can get Mitt. But we want Mitt for like a Friday episode that we can really go through this. But with that, fans, we'll be back after this short break for things strictly for entertainment purposes only on the Out Coaches podcast.
There is an old business adage that says, what gets measured and monitored gets done. It is also fact that deadlines spur action. That is what the CKA SAVE Project academic monitoring service can do for student athletes. Measure and monitor their academic progress to improve their grades. Our academic monitoring services provide ongoing academic support for student athletes for a designated period of time. Our academic success coaches work with student athletes on time management and organizational skills, along with improving their ability to self-advocate. Every few weeks, our academic success coaches meet with student athletes to assess their academic progress as well as provide ongoing academic advising. If needed, student athletes have access to CKA learning specialists who provide virtual core subject academic support for student athletes. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free virtual consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Oh, welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast. Rules are made to be broken according to professional wrestling law. And in segment 3, we are all about entertaining you. So here's the OCP top 5 as of right now. I got Georgia's number 1, Mike. Tennessee's clearly the second best team in the country, so they're 2. Ohio State's 3. Clemson by default is 4. And TCU is 5 because all 5 of those teams are undefeated. And I just wasn't impressed with Michigan. And either Ohio State or Michigan are going to lose. So I'm picking Ohio State right now over Michigan. So on the outside looking in, Michigan has a path, but they're going to choke, I think. Mm-hmm. So I'm not worried about Michigan. Alabama has a clear path, and they're going to be in there. Now, whether they win the championship game or not, I don't know. And they do have Ole Miss coming up. But they mad now, man. So Oregon has the path that I talked about, but USC and UCLA have the same path, and they all play each other. They will all cancel each other out. So there'll be no Pac-12 representation, but we got a show to do. And our focus all season is who's going to be a part of the 4. So, Mike, who do you think are going to be those 4, man?
Georgia, Alabama, Michigan, and I don't know the 4th one yet. There's a couple others that could sneak in there. But
so Michigan is going to beat Ohio State.
I think so. Ohio State showed me flaws yesterday. It showed me weakness yesterday. Like, they punched back, but look who they was punching against. Like, so when you punch back against somebody who's, like Mike Tyson say, everybody got a plan till they get punched in the face. Ohio State didn't. Like, they really took a step back, in my opinion. It was no. So I think Michigan can beat them.
All right. So, picks of the week. Last week I was 2 and 3, but this week, man, I needed a good week, and I got one. I was 4-1 this week, 80% win percentage, and I am plus $16.70. Baby.
That's what I'm talking
about. So I had Baylor plus 2.5. They easily covered that. And I'm 6-3 on the spread this year. So I got to remember that when I go to Vegas, that I'm actually doing well with the spread. Don't go too crazy, but I am 6-3 over the year with the spread. Over under. I had Illinois and Nebraska under 50.5. Easily did that. And I'm 4-5 with the over under. So, okay, again, got to watch that. My 2 play of the week finally came through, USC and Oregon, but I'm 3-6 on 2 plays. But the parlays, that's where you start to get more variables in. Mm-hmm. My 3 play of the week came through, Ohio State, Georgia, Tennessee. I tried to play it as conservative as possible, and I'm 5-4 on 3 plays. My money line play of the week was Oklahoma State upsetting Kansas State, and the only thing that was upset was me. And I am 2-7 on my upsets of the week. But Mike knows, and some of you in the audience, longtime listeners know, I've really tried to study how to do this. And as we are leaving week 9 and entering week 10, I am more comfortable, making decisions and using the data and the input. But I am not crazy like the professional gamblers who are doing individual plays and all of that, man. That's well beyond my scope. And Mike and I are part of a group chat with younger people that are doing all types of things that I'm like, where do you find the time to
exactly.
care?
How can you sit back on that? I don't understand. Who did what? You said what? Where you get that?
He's got to get 2 passes, and he's got to get 300 yards.
Yeah, and he's got to be the first one to score, and he got 1.5 interceptions. Like, what the hell? How much time that take to go through that whole thing?
Yeah, man. State of Maryland, hurry up, by the way. You're killing me. Okay.
Yeah, December. Come on, December. If we can get through this month, we all right.
Season-long win total. So fans, I made 14 bets. My partner helped me out, but I made the decisions. And this is probably the last week I'll mention a couple of them. I had Alabama over 11.5. They're done. So, at least I tried. Georgia's over 11, and they're 8 wins now. We got a shot at that one. Houston was over 9.5. That's trash. So this will be the last time I bring up Houston. Kansas, they got us to win because they are over 2.5, and now they remember that they're Kansas, but we already got the win. NC State over 8.5. They're at 6 wins. They have to win 3 more, Mike. I
Yeah,
don't know if they're going to win 3 more.
yeah.
They're in it.
Yeah.
So, all right. Nebraska under 7.5. They have 3 wins. So Nebraska is a win for me because there is no way they can get to 8 wins. So yes, I'm good with that one.
Are you praying on my man's downfall? He gone. Let him
This is a
leave
business,
quietly,
man.
This
is Nebraska.
Let that
Notre
man actually
Dame
take his money.
over 8.5. They have 4 games left and 5 wins. So Notre Dame has to go undefeated, and
I don't see that happening.
I don't see that happening. So Penn State is over 8.5, and they have 6 wins. So they have to win 3 more. It is possible. But
yes. In the Penn State loss yesterday, I saw some things that made me believe they can get it done.
All right. So Texas is under 8.5. They have 5 wins.
How many Penn State need again? I'm sorry.
Penn State needs to win 3 more games, and they have 4 games left.
Indiana, Rutgers, and Michigan State, they got it, and they lose to Maryland.
Look, as long we just want to win. Texas A&M under 8.5. We got that one, buddy. There's no chance of that one. So kudos for us. South Carolina over 6.5. They're at 5 wins, and they've got to get 2 out of their next 4 for me to win. And if they don't get it in the next 2 weeks, I don't think they're going to get it at all because they've got a couple of winnable games, man. Utah, they're not going to win over 9, so this is trash. Clemson, 10.5, and they're at 8. So I got to think that Clemson can do this. And Ohio State over 11, they're at 8. They've got to win. They got to go undefeated for me to win or push. Yeah, no, they got to go undefeated. So, all right, Mike. Week 9 games to watch, and we've got a bunch of games to watch for good and for fun. Texas is playing K-State. I'm obviously watching that because I got Texas under 8.5, and their next loss gets me a win. So go K-State. Shout out Lisa Rue. Air Force is playing Army. I always like when those service academies go head up. It's always a good game. Maryland's playing Wisconsin. Now, Maryland's in a position, Mike, that they can get a real bowl. And if they get a real bowl, maybe we look into seeing if we can go. Maybe. Because they're bowl eligible. But being bowl eligible can get you, to
They've been sending their ass either they go to San Francisco or they go to DC. I don't know if I need a better
bowl. They
bowl.
Keep winning.
I need a Florida. If they get a bowl in Florida, try to go. Definitely.
Because we're going to be
definitely.
We're going to be there at the same time, if I'm not mistaken. So anyway, go Maryland. Come on, let's do this.
Yes.
We've got the main event, Tennessee and Georgia at 3:30, and we might get some of the correspondence over, see what Mike's schedule is like.
What's the bowls in Florida?
Citrus and something else. Liberty is playing Arkansas, and last week Mike said Liberty ain't beat Arkansas. Well, now Hugh Freeze got that big deal. And he coached at one of them schools. I don't remember which SAC school ran him out, but
he said, "I don't remember which one ran him out."
It was Mississippi.
Stop, man.
So anyway, I'll be checking that out, and I might even put something on that. I might. $10. Okay. Alabama's against LSU. Again, I might put something on there. Now, James Madison is playing Louisville. Now, James Madison can't be in a bowl. So this might be their bowl. And after breaking in the top 25 and then losing 2 straight, this might be the game that they put all the chips to the middle. So we'll see what happens with that. Wake Forest against NC State. You know, I'm rooting for NC State because they need to be over 8.5, and they're at 6 right now. So, and finally, Clemson versus Notre Dame. They are actually traveling to South Bend. Should be an exciting atmosphere. I think that's a night game. It's going to be on NBC and Peacock. So we'll see what happens with that.
I can't believe that.
And we'll close out with our Heisman watch. Here are the names Vegas are talking about, and they are in order this time. C.J. Stroud is number 1 candidate. Hendon Hooker is 2. Caleb Williams is 3. Blake Corum is 4. Bryce Young is 5 from Alabama. Bo Nix is 6. Stetson Bennett is 7. Jamar Gibbs is 8. Drake May from North Carolina is 9, and I think his stock's going to rise. I don't know if he's going to be top 3, but he might be good enough to get to New York City because North Carolina 6-1, 7-1. They're going to be in the top 20 this upcoming week, and they've got some games of profile. So, you know, and then Max Duggan at TCU is 10, and if TCU keeps winning, hey, that kid is going to get some looks, man. Any thoughts before we wrap up, man?
Very, very interested to see what bowl possibilities there are for Maryland in the Big Ten. I'm going to have to check into that for real because they're there now. So it was great to see them down in one of them bowls in Orlando in late December.
Yeah. If they're down there, we'll make that work because we're supposed to be down there around the same time, Mike, if I'm not mistaken.
After Christmas.
Yes.
That week after, yeah.
Yes. So fans, as we close, as we mentioned in our Wednesday episode, these blue strips of tape are where my floating shelves are going to be. We've been working with our lighting. Kelly even is pleased, and this should be even better than before. My wife's helping me out, and Ajwa and Sharita are supposed to come by this week. So fans, you are seeing the studio get built up. And I'm really excited about it because we're investing in the OCP. We're over 200 episodes, close to 225. My partner has been with me the whole time. So again, we're excited about our growth, our development, and keep listening, keep sharing, keep watching. Mike, wrap us up, man. Anything you want to say before we leave?
Great week of college football it was this week. Had a good time. And hopefully as we start to see those pretenders start to fall off, boy. It's starting to get there right now. We're about to see. I'm a little crazy about, not crazy, but just questioning the Heisman, like the numbers of the way they have it organized about who, but you know, that's not the first time I disagree with any of that.
That's all Las Vegas, baby. That's not us.
Yeah.
All right. So on behalf of my tag team partner, Coach Mike Francis, I'm Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching the Odd Coaches podcast. And we will see you on the sidelines. Till next time, take care.
We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches Podcast.